Hello and welcome to Hamdom Thoughts, a podcast about ham radio, electronics, software, and tinkering. I'm your host, Dennis, FCC licensed amateur extra radio operator, call sign 86DM. Today's guest is Kevin, W6RIP. And the reason I'm playing this music as an intro is because Kevin is a consummate badass. He's a ham YouTuber, an active search and rescue volunteer, and he roughs the craggy snow-capped peaks of the southern Sierras. He's documented a lot of it on his YouTube channel, and today we get to hear about this cool mountain man. Stay tuned. Hey Kevin, great to have you here today.
Thanks, Dennis. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Doing good. Doing real good. Had a nice day off, and it's enjoying it.
Very unusual today. I know I've said this in a couple of recent podcasts, but super hot, and now we have a ton of smoke. There's ash all over the place up here.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Apple fire, you could see it from my front yard.
Yeah, you just did you did a quick video on that. I remember. Time lapse, was it?
Yeah, a little time lapse and some photos. We were able to go up behind a certain area and talk to the police officer that was, blocking everything off, and talked to him a little bit, and he let us go back behind it. It's kind of cool. Felt like a VIP.
Nice. But yeah, it's crazy. Whole state's on fire right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll touch on that, some of the emergency stuff that you've worked on. Mm-hmm. But like the other guests, let me hand it over to you. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do, ham radio or otherwise?
Okay. I am a normal guy, I feel. Got into ham radio in 2016 and started doing SOTA 2018. After I got my technician license, 1 month later I got my general because I was fascinated with HF and building antennas, but never really was able to. I did some portable stuff, field day stuff, but once I started watching Jerry's videos on YouTube, it just was something else. KG6 HUD, me and Jerry would talk on the same repeater. I never knew who he was until I saw the videos and we started talking, but same local repeater down here in Southern California. It was really cool. So just a little bit about me. I'm a grocery store manager, and I didn't grow up in the mountains or camping or hiking, not doing any of that stuff. I kind of just learned through YouTube and just started doing it. I had a fascination with it, and I just started doing everything on my own, slowly but surely, along with long range shooting and camping, overlanding, photography. Learned it all self-taught from YouTube. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you have a lot of hobbies, and I noticed that on your channel because I actually found you just kind of going through YouTubers who had ham radio in their theme and found your channel. And I think one of the first videos I saw of you was a SOTA video. And I think, oh man, that's cool. I can't remember who did the first. It may have been Jerry, KG6HQD, or you, but one of you two was the first SOTA video. And I was like, that is brilliant. Radio and getting up on a summit. That is the best way to get out there with ham radio.
It truly is. You're a portable repeater.
Yeah.
Anywhere basically. You need to go.
And I was thinking, okay, yeah, I'm always at the time I was always struggling to get my wire high enough, and that's like the highest you can get it. And just bringing all your gear with you that just touched on the whole preparedness and planning aspect of ham radio that I really loved. But then I started going further back in your channel, and I saw another cool thing that I like, which is you were into reloading and sharpshooting. Yep. And I was like, oh, this guy, he's really cool. So tell us about that a little bit.
Okay, so a while ago, I didn't grow up with guns. My dad didn't shoot, nothing like that. He was just something I just became fascinated in, and started watching. I got my first rifle. It was just a 223 rifle, and wanted to see what I could do with it. So I started watching. There's a YouTube series from Tiborosaurus Rex called Sniper 101. He's about 100 videos, start to finish, on how to long range shoot. And I watched every one of them. I took notes and went out and applied it. Slowly but surely, got to where my ultimate goal is. I shot a mile. Didn't get on video, so that's my goal right now this year. I want to, this fall, I'm gonna get that actually on video. I had 2 friends with me, and all 3 of us were able to shoot a mile.
Wow!
And those 2 guys, I helped teach them how to long range shoot. So it was pretty.
What kind of round is that? I can't even fathom that. My experience is like 200 yards. So what is how do you get a mile?
Well, reloading helps a lot because you understand the bullet you're using and the aerodynamics of that bullet, and you get your feet per second. And obviously, leading up to that, you got to learn how to read the wind. The wind is such a huge factor. But you got a ballistic computer that the one I use is called Apply to Ballistics on my phone, and I put in all the right criteria, and then it comes up with a firing solution. And you got to have a good scope that knows what it's doing. It's tracking properly. But those ballistic computers are garbage in, garbage out. You got to make sure everything is right. Your bullet length, your bullet weight, it'll calculate spin drift and
a lot of trial and error, I imagine, because you're going to have to load and then, okay, let me test these loads and this powder, right, these, this weight of grains and all that.
Yep. They and depending on, there's different ways to do load development. For extreme long range, a lot of people like to shoot as many, as close to groups as they can, but some people want as the closest muzzle velocity variation as possible. So you make sure you're doing the same shot every time. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of mathematics, and a lot of like you said, trial and error. But it's totally worth it.
Yeah. Well, there's a common thread I'm seeing here among hams is that there's a problem to be solved, and we're just applying that problem-solving brain to different areas of our life, and the same applies for even photography or other endeavors, other pursuits. You're just trying to solve a particular problem and trying to reach this goal, and in your case, 1 mile shot or the perfect frame, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I also wanted to talk about your channel a little bit, but before we do, I wanted to play a part of one of your videos where this is the W6RIP that I discovered and knew, and before I looked deeper in the channel, but it was always him sitting on top of a peak, and this one's entitled East Twin Peaks Hike, QRP, portable QRP ham radio SOTA. And he's just talking to people all over the country. Let's give it a listen here.
Whiskey 6, Romeo, India, Papa, Con, CQ, CQ, CQ. Summit's on the air.
Whiskey 6, Romeo, Oscar.
You got a Whiskey 6, Romeo, Oscar. You are at 5757, over.
USL, you are flight by 9 onto the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. Can I have your name and
So in this one, this is what I got to know Kevin as, and actually learned the SOTA exchange, because it is back and forth with the signal reports. I had no idea. I thought, you just go up on the mountain and start calling CQ, but I quickly learned that through you and Jerry how to do the call out CQ SOTA or CQ, and then this was very early on when I got into HF. That is one example of Kevin's adventures, and a lot of his videos are like that. Like the title screen will just be you sitting on top of a mountain with all your gear splayed out in front of you.
Yeah, I've been working on my screenshots. Those one of the constructive criticism from Josh. Those screenshots are so important to get people to click on your videos. But yeah, just being on top of the mountain and that quick signal exchange, keep it short and sweet. A lot of people struggle with that in the very beginning because you got other people calling you. So you want to keep it short and sweet and not really hold on to too long of a conversation. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you get those guys that are your chaser every single time, and you want to just share a moment, and it's worth it. Talk, how's it going? It's really something special when you just hear them every single time that they're there to support you and help you get that activation.
Who are some of those guys for you? Some of the call signs that you always hear up there?
And in Kansas, it's something to Martha. I know Martha because she's a female she's one of the only females that you hear all the time. Mm-hmm. But I think it's Gary and Martha in Kansas. He's awesome. In North Carolina, there's I think in 4EX or something like that. He's got an amazing station. Great, awesome SOTA and POTA practitioner. There's a station in Ontario. I can't think of his call sign, but he's got a beautiful sounding station in Ontario, Canada, and he's been coming in a lot on Parks on the Air. But I get to the point where I'm typing call signs in Hamlog, and the call sign pops up like a auto type, like you've done it before.
Yeah.
And you type
it says dupe 7 or dupe 15 or something like that.
And you just click on it, and it's kind of neat.
Yeah. Tell us what goes into making these videos. I mean, you do the whole thing, from the drive up. You do a lot of walk-bys, like where I guess you plant the camera somewhere on the trail, and then you can just kind of like strolling by it.
Yeah, it's just you learn that from watching other YouTube videos, hiker videos. When I first started doing SOTA, I knew I always wanted to document it. It was really inspiring how Jerry was doing it, so I wanted to share that, and that's the best way to spread the word of this.
Yeah,
and
I don't mean to deconstruct your video process.
No,
kind of like pull the curtain away, but it's just these things that I notice watching your videos. I'm like, that's a really good scene. That's a nice scenic scene.
Yeah.
Oh, you also do drone shots as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I got a drone, started doing that. Thing's kind of heavy, so I'll do it on like the shorter hikes.
Yeah.
Or what's a good thing to do is do the drone shot at the vehicle, show the area, and then put it down, lock it up, and then hike up without it. But yeah, I was just watching like the through hikers of the PC, doing the PCT. Learned a lot of good video techniques from those kind of guys. I was like that. I mean, it really paints a picture of what's going on, so you can kind of see all different angles. What really is going on, and to kind of feel that energy through the videos.
And so your gear when you're going up these peaks, because I don't know if it's the way that others show their videos, but it seems like they're on trails that are they're steep, but they're walking trails, whereas a lot of the videos I've seen with you, you're actually like hands on the cliff and scrambling up, and they seem really difficult, just from the samples that you've shared with us. So I mean, what's your gear like in light of that? I don't imagine you're carrying 25 pounds up those steep cliffs.
They tend to, with water, they get up to that. They get up to 20, 25 pounds.
Okay.
I make sure I always bring my tarp, my first aid kit, stuff for blisters, whatnot. I always make fire, food, stuff to boil water. I always bring those, most of those 10 essentials. Sometimes there's, you don't need every single one, but yeah, I always try to do that, have all that stuff with me and just train the right way.
Lots of cameras too.
Yeah, I started out with a GoPro. I didn't really like the audio and the shakiness, and so I graduated up to something with image stabilization, because I noticed my early videos, the audio was kind of messed up and the video was shaky, so it kind of was hard to watch. And now I'm up to actually carrying up a full-on mirrorless camera, a Panasonic G9 on a gimbal, or I run my Nikon Z6. I'll take that. They're both incredible video cameras, but I try to do it without a gimbal. Again, shaky footage. So I got the gimbal. It's extra 3 pounds, but does some amazing shots. And it's worth it. I got a little handle. I can carry it like a suitcase as I'm going up. And to me, being in search and rescue, I just think of it something that I'm training for. I'm building my forearm strength, hiking with an extra 6 pounds in one of my hands, just to build strength if I got to carry stuff, grip strength. It's just, I kind of, I try to make I just try to make something, like make a reason for it.
It's really intense, though. Some of the videos that you've posted, just having all that gear too. That's even more impressive.
Yeah,
But your main rig is a KX2, right?
Yep, I already used the KX2. My first video when I first started SOTA, I did the 891. I went and bought that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Quickly realized that was between that and battery, that was like a 10-pound setup. And then so my first activation was with that, and I went home and bought the KX2.
Yeah.
And got a little 3 amp-hour battery.
Okay.
My kit now is about 3 pounds, 3.5 pounds, completely doable.
Yeah.
Nice, fits in a nice little lunchbox. And then I use a Heil BM10 headset. So the headset that I use weighs as much as a normal microphone, handheld microphone. So it really helps. I like it.
Yeah, there's really an impression set when I first saw your videos, you and Jerry both.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, this must be the gear that you must have.
Right. I know.
I saw it, and I'm just like, you must have this Heil headset. You must have a KX2. You must use a fishing pole and a wire. You know,
right.
And then I learned later that there's all kinds of variety, and a lot of people
now there's
do.
there's so much stuff coming out now.
But initially, I was like, okay, target set. I got to get that stuff, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
over the course of saving up for it, I realized, okay, I actually have options here. So I opened up a little bit. But yeah, that the KX2 especially, it's a very light, self-contained station, all in a small package.
Great filters. I mean, it's hard to beat, but yep. And that's what's good about, more and more people doing these videos. You start seeing more and more types of gear.
Yeah.
And you get more and more ideas, and that's kind of what we try to egg everyone on to do, is just make some videos of your gear and doing the SOTA Summit and share it.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
You were part of that large party that Josh Nass did, right? I forget I think it was it Pacifico or something like that?
Yeah, Mount Pacifico or Pacifico Mountain, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and then he posted this photo of like 7 Elecraft rigs on a table.
At the end, we're kind of thinking about photo ops and, let's do the Elecrafts. Yeah,
so it's like everyone on the mountain had the same one. That's great. Yep. So you are the Southern Sierra Regional Manager.
Yeah.
We talked earlier in this series with Rex, the W6 Association Manager. Mm-hmm. So you are the manager for that region in Southern California. How long have you been doing that? And tell us a little bit about that region and what you have to do there.
Yeah, I've been doing it since Rex took over the W6 area. So Rex reached out to me to be the region manager for the Southern Sierra and the Southern Desert, because he reached out to a couple other guys that turned it down because of they're busy. So I was going to do both, and then I talked to Jerry, and he ended up taking the Southern Desert from me so I could do the Southern Sierra. And it's the most peaks in the association. And a lot of them are untouched, very, very mountainous terrain. Some of these peaks will take days to get to, and a very high skill level to get up. Stuff that like K6 ARK, he is a stud. He's activated probably most of those peaks that are there. Anything you look through that association and you see his call sign on it with one activation.
So it's you go to, what is that map site?
SOTA.uk.org. Go to the database.
Okay.
Then you can find summits, W6, SS.
And you'll see K6 ARK on there a lot.
Yeah, that, and his call sign before that was KJ6 Hot or something like that, HOT. So you'll see that. You'll just see his call sign over and over and over. And then a couple other local guys too did some other ones. It's pretty neat. But for me, from down here, I'm in Southern California, and you got to plan that trip, to get up there. And if you need a couple days to get to a peak, and a day to drive up and get to wherever you're going to camp, and you almost need a vacation to get up there and do those kind of things. At least 3 or 4 days, which I rarely get from my job, being a grocery store manager. I get a few vacations, like 4 vacations a year, and it's not all just a trip up to the Southern Sierra region. I'm doing other things too, but yeah, you really got to plan and use your time wisely to get up there and actually get to those, because they're pretty awesome. You drive through there up that 395 and you look over there and you're just like, wow. And you're only seeing the cusp. You don't know what's in behind all those mountains. So
Wow.
we did a group hike out there, and we went and did Pilot Knob. Adam put it together. There's, I think, 6 of us. I brought my son too, 5 SOTA guys, and I brought my son. But it was quite a hike. I mean, it took 2 days to get to it, and it was, for me and Jerry, it was like some of the hairy stuff that we've seen, and it was amazing. It really was amazing. But it really paints a picture of what it takes to get to those. So there's a reason why a lot of those are untouched.
Yeah, K6ARK Adam, he's a beast. I've talked to him before and told him that he's just a SOTA beast. And that one video he did with the 14K elevation, and he's at the top, and he hasn't even broken a sweat. He's just like, hey, I'm up here now, and let's activate.
Yep. Awesome shape. He's been doing those since he was I think when he's a young man, a teenager or something. He's been go up there with his family, and so he's very familiar with that area.
Yeah.
So well, if I ever have any questions about that stuff, I always reach out to him.
Yeah, you mentioned just planning and how difficult it takes to get up there. There's another set of clips here I wanted to play, and it's your video of Split Mountain. So here, let me do the intro first of that.
All right, so Split Mountain is right up over there. Right up there behind that big mountain, kind of like right in there, that spiky top.
So that one is when you're driving up, and these are some serious mountains I'm looking at here in the video. Like they just jut out of the landscape.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you're climbing up. Maybe you can kind of prime this for us.
Okay. So
what was happening here when you're about to hit this certain point that I'm going to play here?
Okay. So after is about a 7-mile hike total, but about 5 miles in, and I camp for the night, and I drop some gear and leave my camping gear, and I start hiking up and throw on the head cam. And I'm just going through, there's a huge ice field. You got to jump, boulder hop a bunch of stuff. I don't want to walk on that ice field. I don't know how thin it is. I don't know what kind of rivers running up below it. So I'm boulder hopping over the side, and then I start going up the very loose scree and talus, and I take a bad line. I should have, but it looked from the bottom, you think you see a line that looks doable, but it's sometimes the wrong one. So I took a wrong line up, and I got into some hairy stuff, and everything I grabbed onto was falling apart. And and then I get to a certain point.
All right, here, let's play this part. It's about 20 minutes and 45 seconds into the video.
Holy fuck. Are you kidding?
And then I'll skip ahead here to where you're thinking about what to do.
No way. Wow. So I thought I could get up to this and then go around the backside. That is not true. Alright, this is where I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm not getting up that. My legs are already fucking feeling shot. I just came up this thing over here so I could go across, and fucking just the loose rocks are just insane. So I'm gonna go down right here and slide down, go down real slow, and then head on back.
So Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit what's going through your mind as you're doing this and deciding to turn around?
About it until you get here.
Yeah, it was right at that point where I potty mouth, but it is what it is in the moment.
Yes.
I try to be very candid. I don't like to hide stuff. I keep it real and share it. So I get up to a point where it doesn't show it so much with the video, but my eyeballs look down and I can't even see the bottom of the other side of that. It's
Wow.
like 2 feet away is, I mean, who knows, a 3,000-foot drop. And that's when I'm like, holy F. And then I look around, and because I had seen a video on YouTube about this hike, but like I said, I took a bad line. If I would have stayed over more, further to the left, I guess you could say, it would have been kind of what I was looking for. But I wasn't expecting that. So when I saw that, and I was already exhausted, and I wasn't going to go back down and go all the way back over, and it was loose rocks, and I was underprepared because I didn't have a helmet going up that with all that loose stuff. I needed a helmet, and so it's kind of scaring me a little bit. And because any bad move, I was out there all alone, ham radio and a Garmin, but that's it. So I just that was it. I just like, I'll chalk it up. I'll come back another time.
Yeah, that's
more prepared.
Pretty much rock climbing right there.
Yeah,
where you actually need a helmet.
Class 3, class 4 in some spots.
Yeah.
So, doing stuff down here in Southern California is lots of trails, a little bit of hand stuff, but nothing like up there. So I wanted to try it. It was a very awesome experience. That red trail going out to that mountain is amazing. There's a lake up at the top at 10,000 feet. And very few people go through that. So just hiking that trail was something special.
Yeah. But even doing something like that solo, just watching the video, I was already getting all anxiety.
I know.
Because I was like, what if I was alone in this kind of scenario? I'd really be stressing out.
There's a lot of easy ways to hurt yourself and something like that. So I learned too that you definitely got to have some partners, and not everybody's days off match up. So a lot of planning involved in trying to, a lot of sacrifice, meeting up with other guys or doing this, doing that. And, but yeah. So.
But that also leads to my next question, which is your search and rescue work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that you've definitely trained a lot. I remember you talking about the weeks and weeks that you were going to these trainings for your SAR group there.
Yeah.
But tell us more. Tell us about what you do for search and rescue, how you got into it, what you've done.
Right. And just a little side note, that split mountain attempt was before I got into search and rescue. So I was getting the search and rescue was awesome. So it's really let me see things in hindsight of how unprepared I was when I tried to do that. But search and rescue, once I moved out of Orange County into San Bernardino County, I met up with a guy, and he's cleaning my windows, and he saw my ham radio gear, hiking gear. He's the ham radio guy, and everything about search and rescue is communications and camping and stuff. So he said he's hiring for the search and rescue team, and he's been on it for 5 years. And are you serious? I go, it wasn't an accident for us to meet. So I quickly joined the team and got into BSAR and did my stuff. Learned a lot of like survival stuff, a lot of stuff that I knew already, starting fires, land navigation, stuff like that. But quickly, what I was excited about was getting into ropes, doing rope gear stuff, rappelling, ascending, learning how to build anchors. Those kind of things are very valuable. So had a lot of fun doing that. And I've been in for about a year and a half, and we're, COVID hit. So we kind of took a little time off, but we're back at training hard again. The San Gorgonio search and rescue team, we're a rope team. We got a lot of steep terrain out here. So it's
what is
it's awesome.
BSAR? What does that mean? BSAR?
Basic search and rescue training.
Oh, okay.
So we do some mentor training. Our mentee, we go through mentor training where we learn all the stuff, the skills to go into basic search and rescue training. And then that's a 3-weekend school where you do some indoor stuff, then outdoor stuff, and then building shelters, land navigation, like I said. But it's a awesome experience. There's about 25 people per class, and I was the only one from my team to go through into that class, and it was the BSAR class of Lucky 13. That was kind of neat. But I've met some incredible people doing search and rescue. And then since doing that, reaching out, Adam does search and rescue, K6ARK, the GOAT, Whiskey 6, or, our WGO0T, GOAT from Colorado, search and rescue guy. There's a search and rescue, just all the search and rescue guys that are SOTA goats reached out. And sharing tracks, sharing trails, sharing stories. There's, I think N6 JFD up north, up there lives by Rex, and they go to do stuff together. He's a search and rescue, I believe.
I think he's the assistant, right? The assistant association manager.
Yeah, and he's got some regions under it, that he's working with. But yeah, a lot of guys that they kind of have that mountainous background.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're out there, so
yeah,
it sounds like a natural progression.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be interested in helping others who get stuck out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so what I've been focusing on out here since I joined the team out here, I've been doing a lot of peaks around here and going up to them from different ways each year, so I can learn these trails and learn our wilderness out here better. So I kind of focus learning that stuff because it's also training too. It's trail familiarization that we do. And then I got a couple people on the team that I took up, and they did their first SOTA activation, which was really cool. And they were super excited. And I preach ham radio across the team. And we just recently got some guys that licensed just so they better with their communications. But
so you got in, and then you converted a bunch of people over to SOTA.
Yep, to ham radio and hiking. And I'm the chair because of my ham radio background. Now I'm the chair of the technology committee, where we're working with radios and Garmin's and getting all that stuff ready for everyone. So
makes total
really
sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. Have you been deployed yet to actually do?
Yeah, we did. So there's it's been a pretty quiet year. There's we have like 4 things that I was able to respond to because if I was at work or not. One of them it needed alpine awareness, so that takes about 2 years to get to that. And then there was another one where that happened actually a couple times. So 3 of the 4 rescues that I've been deployed on, I just didn't have enough qualifications to actually go with it. So I'd sit at command post. I went in with a rescue group to meet a team to extract them. We went in with our Jeeps and vehicles to extract the team. But a lot of good stuff that we're learning. Wow,
very admirable. I think about those who are out there in search and rescue. It's they're also risking their own lives sometimes.
Yep, very selfless.
Yeah,
very selfless. And it's and what we're doing, and we put in the time and the effort to just be better. So when the time comes, we're ready.
Yep,
a lot of hours of training happen.
So in going through this training, what are some of the things you wish you had known when you started doing SOTA hikes?
I wish I wasn't so blind to the fact of how easy you can get hurt. You kind of feel invincible when you start. You go out and doing these things, and I was always going out solo most of the time. I did a couple of joint hikes with Jerry, but like I said, everyone has different jobs, different days off. Things don't match up. I didn't want that to keep me from going and doing anything. So it's really neat seeing all these videos and using Gaia and the different tools that you got to map out a trail. It's kind of a good thing that I didn't let it hold me back, but knowing that, things can go wrong, and you're not invincible. One little move the wrong way and your day is going to change. So I think I wish I understood that a little bit more when I first started. I would have probably been a little more prepared or took a different mindset to it, but I've been lucky. I do pretty good. I have a football background, so I'm athletic background, and I pay attention to a lot of details. So we've been all right.
So you started off kind of learning the hard way, and then you got the actual formal training.
Yep.
And in retrospect, you're like, okay, should have been more prepared in this or that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. Switching gears, what are some of the things that you've been working on lately? What's some interesting projects or things that you've been working on?
Okay, so what I just recently, I just did my antenna video, just going over the specs of it. That was my antenna I made when I first started, when I got the KX2, and I had it. It wasn't. I shouldn't say that. It wasn't my first antenna. It was actually my second antenna. But used a heavy gauge speaker wire and set up in an L fashion with a vertical and a horizontal leg, and the antenna does amazingly well on all the activations. So people ask what it is, but it is on the heavy side. It weighs about a half a pound. So my thing right now is that thick gauge wire really helping with the voice going through to the other side? Like, you got a signal, but then you have your voice, and your microphone plays a part, your mic gain plays a part. I wonder if the radio or the thickness of that antenna plays a part. You think of thicker wire might have a better bandwidth or something. There might be something different. So what I did was I bought some 26 gauge speaker wire, or not speaker wire, just regular wire, and I made another antenna with the exact specifications as same as the one I have now. And I'm going to go out and do a side-by-side test with these two antennas and just, let the chasers know, hey, give me a second. I'm going to switch antennas. And I'm going to see if maybe if the signal report changes, or maybe my voice is a little bit stronger one over the other. I haven't seen anybody actually do that with giving an honest report on how strong your voice is coming through, because that's very important. A lot of people do CW now, which is awesome and the way to go. But people start out with voice of phone, and making sure that these guys are going out there and being successful with phone is a huge deal. So I just a little, I mean, maybe it's the same, maybe it's not. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool just to check it out.
Yeah. It's a good thing to test as well, because I know that ham radio, because of, I guess people blame the sunspot cycle or whatever the conditions, moving more and more to these very extremely efficient modes like CW or FT8 or PSK31, just trying to squeeze out that signal out of all of the noise, and also with the poor bounce off of the ionosphere. And so when I see a ham that's really successful using voice, that guy is getting, or gal is getting the contacts, because that is it has to be strong enough to be making it and readable on the other side. So if you have to have your antenna really well tuned for that. Everything needs to be working right for a phone contact to actually happen.
Right. And that's why, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That's why I run a resonant 20 meter antenna. Yeah. Because I figure, the least I have to use my tuner, the best my signal is going to be. So that's why I do it like that.
Yeah. I really admire those who are out there on voice, like Kay at MRD, he does POTA, always SSB.
Yeah.
It also honestly led me to think early on, again, I got really into the hobby in like late 2017 and early 2018, and seeing some videos of SOTA hams, it made me think that phone was easy, honestly, because of all the successes everyone was having on those mountaintops with their wire and their pole.
Right.
And I learned that it's not. I struggle with it even now. And if you'll look at my log, there's like 1,000 contacts or whatever in there, but very few of those are phone, because I guess my antenna tuning skills are not anywhere near where I need them to be or want them to be. And so I have a hard time when we have like QSO parties or whatever. I'll get 10, maybe a couple dozen at most contacts, because my own setup, while I have the rig and I have all the power to run for days, just getting that signal out there on voice is difficult for me. So it's very admirable when you can get that dialed in and really get out there and get across the country reliably.
Right. Very clear. Some guys found that out when we went on, the hike up to Mount Pacifico, the ham radio crash course SOTA hike. There's a couple guys struggled. They had big SOTA beams antenna with huge mass and a big old wire, and it's deployment is huge. So you can't just run up with this thing and just throw it up and think that it's going to work the way you want it to. You got to practice. But the guys seen, everyone got their activations, and I went last to show my setup, and it was awesome. It was really awesome. And that was when I got the contact with the goat in Colorado with Steve. And that was really neat. That was, on 20 meters, you got I usually hit from like Kansas beyond to the east, but to get him right there in Colorado was rad. So, I mean, those chasers having really good stations and what they're doing is incredible. But
yeah, I have him on ham alerts. I listen for him for CW, awesome. And I haven't gotten him yet. And he's just there in Colorado. I still haven't gotten him. But I actually didn't even know that Steve W6RIP was search and rescue as well.
Oh, yeah. Many, many years. We talked about it. He's got a lot of good, valuable tips that he gave me. And we talked a little bit. And yeah, he did it for, I think, in the teens of years, double-digit years.
Wow.
Out there.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. True.
I get alerts for him all the time.
Yeah, it was pretty neat when he chased me. And he said his call sign, and I repeated it back, and it didn't click until I was like, "Oh, whoa!" And then it was kind of, and then everyone, Jason behind me is like, "It is! Oh my god!" It's we're all starstruck with that guy.
All right. Well, those are the questions I had. Do you have anything else that you wanted to say? Any advice to new hams or any other things?
I would like to see, obviously we always want to have more people join the hobby, and I do want to also share that I do POTA, and I think it's okay for us guys to do POTA and SOTA. It's not one or the other, it's not SOTA against POTA or anything like that. If
you talk to Jerry Net, you might think differently, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have a lot of banter. Doing some POTA videos so they could, because there's a lot of people that know POTA that don't know SOTA. So I've been doing some POTA videos specifically so I reach that audience, and then they see my SOTA videos, and then they can kind of link the two together. Yeah. But it's okay to do both. There's a huge audience doing both. There's a lot of guys with different skill sets and different things that excite them.
Yeah, you have a really great video in Wyoming where you did it.
Yeah, that was one of my better videos. I really enjoyed doing that one. That was a really special one. That area is beautiful. I'm going to do that every year. But sometimes you twist an ankle or a knee, or you're kind of not feeling up to it. You just go sit out, but take your trailer out or go out to a park, and it's all good. There's nothing wrong with that.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Kevin.
Well, thank you, Dennis.
Thank you so much for spending time with us here.
I
gotta say, I am a fan. I mean, I am kind of fanboying right now, but
thank you.
Just knowing you, being able to talk with you right now is a real treat for me, because you're one of the very first exposures I've had to this hobby in earnest. I knew a lot of people when I first got my tech, and I talked to them on repeaters and stuff, and I thought that was what ham radio was about, just talking on repeaters. And when I thought, okay, let's check YouTube for ham radio, and I found your videos, I was like, okay, this is really awesome. It can be taken to a whole other level. I used to rock climb years ago. Can't really do it now, but so just the idea of combining that with actually transmitting and just seeing the fun you were having and the false sense of success initially.
Yeah. Right.
I was just really inspired. So again, I just really want to convey that to you. Thank you for taking the time, and I'm one of your fans for the videos you do. I hope you continue to keep producing them.
Yep, I am, and I'm trying to start putting different spins on them. I don't want them to be all kind of the same format or the same thing, so that's why I'm tying in a lot of photography to kind of break it up a little bit. I want to learn some different B-roll techniques, but I do want to keep that active viewer there watching and excited with the editing skills that I'm just trying different new stuff, just keep people excited about it.
Yeah, I want to also mention you had one of the best Milky Way shots I've ever seen. Like it was like a long exposure that you shared with me once, and you also do a lot of time lapse in your nighttime time lapse on some of your videos.
Yeah, I'm really excited about astrophotography, and that Milky Way shot was when we were when when we were going up to Pilot Knob, we were up in the Southern Sierras, and we were at about over 11,000 feet, and by a lake. And up there, there's no clouds, there's no smog. It's just you in the sky. And when I saw that, I grabbed the camera and I started doing some shots, and it was just something else. You don't see the sky like you can from 11,000 feet.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Did you get any shots of the comet? Neowise?
I did. The Comet Neowise, I did. I'll throw it back up on. I'll send it to you. But yeah, I did. I went up to a local helipad out here, and I had my Nikon Z6 with a 200 millimeter f2.8 lens that I was able to get in real good on it, and a little bit of Lightroom on it, and it was just I was able to capture the color of the comet. It was glowing green.
Wow.
That was awesome, because I've seen a lot of guys with the spray going out the back of it or whatever, but to capture that color, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I tried several days, like at least 5 times to see it. But of course, I'm in the middle of the suburbs at sea level, so
yep.
I never actually saw it. I just had to live through all the other photos that I saw.
Yeah, I couldn't see it with the naked eye. I knew where, with the Big Dipper, I knew kind of where to point the lens. And once I did that long exposure, about a 5-6 second exposure, and I was like, oh my God, there it is. Holy cow. And but that's the only way that I was able to do it. And I made sure I was up about 5,000 feet up in elevation to do it. But yeah.
All right.
It's pretty cool.
Another tangent, but thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's really cool. I wanted to talk a little bit about your night shots as well. Those are some amazing photos. Throw some up on Twitter. People can see those.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll call it right here.
Okay.
Okay, once again, thank you for listening to Handum Thoughts. I am Dennis, AD6DM, and we'll catch you again next time. Did you know that you could send audio messages back to Hamdum Thoughts Podcast? Just visit anchor.fm/AD6DM and hit the message button to record your messages right from your computer or phone. Your comments or questions might even end up on the next episode, like this next one.
Hey, Dennis, Eric, Kilo Zero Echo Alpha Papa. Just wanted to thank you for this podcast with your conversation with Rex. It was wonderful. My very first CW SOTA contact was with Rex back in February of 2018. So it was pretty cool to remember that. Rex and I have been following each other on Twitter and had many contacts on SOTA summits throughout the years since that first one. Again, thanks for the podcast. It's awesome. I'm really, really enjoying it. I can't wait to hear more. Thanks, Dennis.